if you want to be resilient and you want to be prepared and you want to thrive, not just survive, let's talk about some ways that we can be resilient for the coming times, no matter what happens, whether it's the elections, civil war, whatever. Okay, so here are some ways that we can be resilient for the upcoming times. Okay, there we go. Ah! Hey everyone, Morgan here. So I'm actually preparing corn to get it canned. You've probably either seen this video already, or if you haven't, you can go check it out. But anyway, we're not talking about canning corn today, but this is actually relevant to what I want to talk about. So I found this big crate. There's a big crate here with all of this corn in it. I'll show you just real quick. All this corn in it. I got a 48 count of corn for, I got it for, what was it? $18.50. So it's a pretty good deal, I think. And I got it so that I can preserve. You know, I don't have a garden going right now. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But I got it from a local bulk produce supplier. And I found it because I was part of some community Facebook groups. So this is my very first tip that I want to give you. You need to be part of some community groups, whatever they are. Oh, my paper towel just ripped. You need to be part of community groups, whatever they are. Now, I don't like Facebook. I don't really use it that much. The only thing I use Facebook for is actually the Facebook groups. Like, I'm a part of a lot of homeschool groups. I am a part of like local farming groups. I'm a part of all these groups that can help me grow my community and give me ideas and just be part of a local community. I've discovered so much in these groups that I never would have without these groups. You can also find local farms and stuff by just searching online or going to farmers markets. These are ways that I've been able to find certain local farms like You Pick Farms, or places for you know, like Halloween, the harvest stuff, and you know, the festivals and the mazes and all that stuff. So that's how I found a lot of that stuff. So the next one I want to talk about is preserving. So I bought this stuff in bulk so that I can preserve it. I'm going to can this. Normally I'd be freeze drying it, but just a really quick tidbit on that. My freeze dryer is down for the summer because it's just too hot outside. It's making my house too warm inside, and it's making the freeze dryer too warm. And it's giving me that heat warning. No matter how many fans I put on it, it just doesn't matter. It still gives me that heat warning. So that's okay. I've put the freeze dryer to bed during the hot months, and it's going to come back rip-roaring in the fall and winter. But I still wanted to continue to preserve. So I got this bulk produce. You know, if you don't have a bulk supplier, you know, and you can't grow it yourself, then, you know, you can get some stuff from the grocery store. That's what I used to do. Just get in-season produce. Well, that's what I still do, used to. I don't can anymore since I got my freeze dryer, so, but I still have all my canning stuff. I'm not getting rid of that. Obviously, the ideal thing to do is to grow everything yourself and then just preserve all that stuff, right? Like, even grow your own chickens, you know, grow your own food, get your own eggs, all this stuff, right? But that's not always possible for all of us. But it's okay if you want to go to the grocery store and do like a few pints of corn because it's on sale, or do some can some pineapple because, again, it's on sale. There's so much stuff, you know, especially coming up right now, that's going to be in season, and you're going to be able to can, dehydrate, freeze dry, you know, all these things. What you could also do is you could freeze all this stuff, right? So like you could get a half a cow, right? Like, I probably will never be in the position to own cows. But you know what I will be in the position for? To purchase a quarter, half, or full cow from my local farm. That's what I'll be in a position to do. And then from there, I can put all that in the freezer. I can make it into jerky. You can freeze dry it. You can also can your own meat at home with pressure cooking. You know, like, follow all the standard prepping advice, right? Get that food and water. Get the first aid supplies. Get the alternative cooking methods. And start and practice these skills as well. If you're not part of my newsletter, I try to give you guys a practical advice every single week. And if you sign up, you get a free ebook that talks about bugging in preparedness. But yeah, so, if you're not already prepping, you're brand new to this channel or prepping or whatever, or maybe, you've slacked on it lately or whatever, keep at it. Okay? Like, it doesn't have to be big and grandiose every single month, but do something. Do something. Okay? Get some bottles of water. Go practice a skill. Just do something to continue staying prepared. Listen, no matter what happens, you're responsible for you. Okay? That's it. You are the one that are responsible for you. And that's what I really want to drive home. That point is, you are responsible for you. You are responsible for your family. The government is not responsible for your family. Your neighbor's not responsible for your family. Your friends are not responsible for you. Even extended family, they're not responsible for you. The only people that are responsible for you and your family is you. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you can say, okay, you know what? I'm going to be prepared for myself. And then, if I want to be prepared for extended family or friends or anything, that's your call, right? I will always be here to help people, right? Like, I want to help people. I want to help you. That's why I do these videos. I want to help people. But at the end of the day, when I hear people saying things like, well, I'm just going to come to your house and steal all your preps, or I'm going to, the government will take care of me, or I'm good. I have like a couple cans of Spam and things like that. Like, I know like a lot of people are joking, but at the same time, it's like a lot of people do have this mentality of somebody else will save me. And in times of crisis, people do come together. We help each other and we come together. But that can also take time. Because if that person is over there trying to help that person and you're over here needing help, it's going to take a while. Because in any emergency scenario, the person trying to help other people has to make sure that they are good themselves, that they are safe, and that they are going to be able to help you safely. Because if they perish in the act of trying to save you, well, that saved nobody, right? That did nothing. So yeah, and help may not even arrive for days. There's lots of instances in history, right, of emergencies and disasters where help hasn't come for days. And even if help does arrive pretty quickly, sometimes your whole life could be destroyed. Like, there's tornadoes and things that are coming that have come through regions and just completely destroyed people's lives. And this is something that they're going to have to work through for months, if not years, depending on, with the scenario. Like, if they've lost their whole livelihood, their house and everything, they have to go rebuild. They have to rebuild there or rebuild somewhere else. I mean, that's a whole thing, And there are ways to be prepared for that, financially, and things like that with insurance and whatever else the case may be. My point is, even if you are able to get help in those kind of scenarios, they can take a while, a long while. So what are you going to do in the meantime? And nobody's saying this is like an end of the world fallout situation, right? Like, this is a literal situation of what am I going to do between our life being destroyed and rebuilding it, right? Like, so how are we going to be prepared for something like that? And it's not always grandiose like that, right? So like, a lot of people are really scared of the election coming up, right? There's going to be chaos, this, that, and the other, and what's happening with Trump and all these other things. But it's not just that. There's a whole lot of things going on in this world, right? Wars and things that are going on all the time. And how are people getting through these things? For people that have forethought, that know that bad things happen, you prepare. I don't know if things are going to get worse. I'm an optimist. I really try to look for the best in every situation. And I think that's what turns a lot of people off about my channel, because they just see me as this optimist of like, well, you can do anything you set your mind to, and you know, the world's not coming to an end. Well, I've never said any of that. Like, you know, our world is pretty crazy. Okay, our world is nuts, and I have not denied that at all, ever. But you know what I've always said? Just keep prepping. I have seen a lot and gone through a lot of whatever happening in the world, and I have said the same thing over and over and over. Keep prepping. Don't give up. Don't just say, well, looks like the end of the world, so why bother? Just keep prepping. So what if you don't use your preps? So what? You have them. You're prepared. That's pretty much all there is to it. The last thing I want to talk about is prepping your mind and body. So I talk about this a lot, but you know, especially when it comes to everything that is happening in this world, we can get stressed out, right? We can get really frustrated and stressed out, and like nothing matters, and like, you know, depression and anxiety is running rampant, and especially with social media, just the way that it is, you know, spewing, you know, false information just all the time, or fear mongering all the time. It gets exhausting, you know, and so I want you to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. That doesn't mean being ignorant, okay? We need to pay attention to what's going on in the world. I keep hearing people say, well, I just don't watch the news because of that. That's not really great. Like, we got to know what's happening in the world, but that doesn't mean that we have to focus on it so much that, you know, we're losing faith in our own ability to help ourselves. You need to control what's in your control. And let me tell you, there's a lot in your control. A lot. You can control what you eat. You can control your thoughts. You can control your exercise. You can control what you do and do not prep. You can control a lot in your life, okay? You can even control, you know, your finances, how much money you are not coming in. You know, a lot of people. You can control, you know, the people that are in your lives. You can control so much. You can look at that news and you can say, you know what? This is, and acknowledge this is depressing or whatever the case may be, and then be like, you know what am I going to do today to put something in my control? Am I going to preserve something? Am I going to go for a walk? Am I going to get out into nature and touch some grass? You know, what am I going to do today to make sure that I'm not getting bogged down with what's happening in the world? I'm not being ignorant, but I'm not getting bogged down either. I have tons of resources on my website. I have my newsletter. I'm coming out with free courses here on YouTube that's going to go into details, step-by-step information about all sorts of topics, food and water and urban preparedness and all sorts of things. So look out for those. But I want you to go to my website and download, you know, all my free stuff that I have there. Look at my blogs, and, you know, if you're not subscribed here already, please subscribe. But definitely go to my website. Some corners are hard. There we go. This one's all curved, so I'm like, struggling. Yeah, go to my website and look at all that stuff, and look at my playlists and all these things here on YouTube. But if you ever have any questions, I'm always here to help answer them. Of course, we have a great community of people here as well that can help answer things as well. I hope you enjoyed this chat with Morgan. I'm gonna try to finish this up. I don't know, I'm like 3/4 of the way through. Processing the fruit or corn or vegetables or whatever you're doing is probably the most tedious part of any preservation method. And then once you get it going, you're like, phew, done. Anyway, all right, thank you all so much for watching. I want you to conquer tomorrow by preparing today, and be sure to check out this video that's gonna give you some even more information about how to be prepared for uncertain times. I'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye.